Lenny, I'm continuing here talking about something I talked about before,
Okay.
which is the first choral passage of the Agamemnon of
Piece, yeah.
Aeschylus.
Yeah.
And we got through the part where the poetic vision sees two predatory birds screaming vengeance because some injustice has been committed,
Right.
their nestling has been robbed. And now we're continuing with this passage, and I was arguing that everything in this first choral passage of Aeschylus for the Agamemnon is a flashback to the Iliad,
Okay.
and flashback to the experiences of people in Athens who've heard the Iliad many times.
Right.
I stopped text B where I stopped it, and I start text C where I started, because this is the part of the choral passage where suddenly there's a flashback not only in content but also in form, since what I'm translating as I am authorized to narrate the power of men in the original Greek is dactylic hexameter. It is the medium of epic. It is the medium of the Iliad. Kyrios, eimi, throein, etc., etc., etc. So the medium is now actually plugging us into.
It's activated the whole thing. Yeah.
And yes, an Iliadic scene. And we're back to thinking about the two leaders of the Trojan expedition, why and how it all happened. And since I emphasized so much when I was talking about the earlier part of this choral passage, I emphasized so much the image of the two birds and how it's a simile. It's simply a comparison. There is Agamemnon and Menelaus, and then there are the two birds. The eagles. Is it all right if we call them eagles? I'm not sure what they are. But okay,
eagles
so
is the appropriate bird anyway for
good.
kings.
So so two eagles, and now as we hear the story unfold, we see eagles again, but this time it's not a simile; it's a real happening, and it's called an epiphany. That is to say, the word phainastai, when you look at that in its specialized usage, it really does refer to epiphanies, where the gods send a vision. And you can't call it just a simile anymore.
Right. It's the real thing.
And it seems as if we see the same two eagles, or a variation on the same two eagles, but this time, instead of their being the victims of something, they are inflicting suffering on another animal. And that other animal is a pregnant rabbit, and they're devouring it. Then Kalkhas, the seer, is called on to interpret what this means. And we know him very well from the Iliad, where Kalkhas is interpreting what Apollo means. And so what do the gods mean here? If we keep on looking, I find it most interesting around line, just before line 135 happens, where the seer, Kalkhas, is saying, I say this because she in her pity is angry. I mean, holy Artemis. She is angry at the winged hunting dogs of her father Zeus, for they're sacrificing a miserable, frightened thing together with her offspring. Artemis has a loathing for the feast of the eagles. So she's angry at the eagles, but in a way she's already angry at Agamemnon and Menelaus. And I'm particularly interested, if we now skip ahead to 140, the way Artemis is described as the goddess of tender cubs of vicious lions, because that makes us think back of the riddle, the fable of the lion cub. So surely there's a kind of connection here with that earlier image, and how she takes delight in the breast-loving young of all wild animals that roam the fields. And now demands that the symbols of these things be brought to fulfillment. Well, so She's also the goddess of winds.
Mm-hmm.
She can control whether the wind from the west to the east that would take the Achaeans to Troy
Yep.
will or will not blow.
Exactly.
But the price for making that wind blow is the sacrifice of Agamemnon's daughter, Iphigeneia.
Exactly.
I'm working my way ahead
Mm-hmm.
to line 150.
Right.
She's urging a sacrifice of another kind, a
yes.
sinister one.
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of moderns think that, oh, Artemis is just a cruel, irrational divinity.
Mm-hmm.
Why does she want Iphigeneia to be slaughtered by her own father? And I say to myself, well, it's more that this is the price that Agamemnon has to pay
Right.
if he wants to go to Troy and slaughter people there.
Right. Right.
And there'll be a lot of innocent people who will be slaughtered in
Exactly.
Troy. It's not just the guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want that to happen, sacrifice your daughter.
Right.
But I'm angry.
Uh-huh.
And I would like for you to talk about what kind of anger is going on here. And if we would fast forward to, starting with 155 or thereabouts,
Right.
we hear it is an anger, Mēnis,
Mm-hmm.
that remembers.
Right.
And it comes with punishment for whatever happened to a child.
Right.
And you are the expert on this word. You've
Uh-huh.
written a whole book
Look up
on it.
I've done that. Yes.
And you concentrate on the Iliad, where this is the first word,
Right.
and it has an all-important meaning.
Right.
So what would you say about how the word plays out here?
Well, it's very interesting. Remember, in the Iliad, or at least what I've tried to argue,
Yes.
is that the Mēnis is a cosmic thing always. It's
Yes.
and what's involved is some kind of massive disturbance. What causes it is a massively important disturbance in the way the world should work. So it's never a casual thing. It's never a person getting pissed off at something.
Yes.
It's always something has really gone wrong that throws the way the world works off. Okay.
Yes.
And so the consequences are always devastation on an equally massive scale, right?
Yes.
So here, I believe that there's the quality, the adjective a Mēnis that remembers here, okay?
Yes.
And there's the other one that you've translated, and it comes with punishment for whatever happens to a child.
Yes.
These evoke the kind of massively horrifying abuse of what should happen in the world, okay? And it puts it squarely on the enactment of the ritual sacrifice of your own daughter, okay?
Yes.
As the cause, right? This is a
Beautiful.
total perversion of everything that's supposed to happen in terms of ritual, in terms of family relationships, and it disturbs the universe. Right?
And I would really like for people to look back to the part of the book, Ancient Greek Hero in 24 Hours, where I quote your definition,
Right.
your working definition of Mēnis as a cosmic sanction.
Yes, exactly. So although it can be, the vehicle of it can be people, human beings as well as gods, it's always
Yes.
something that involves both.
It involves everybody. It
And
involves
everybody, yes.
It involves the cosmos.
Yes, the
And with
natural world as well as the human world, right?
Yes.
Very importantly.
Yes. So it's society and cosmos together.
Exactly.